Good evening. Good to see you, sweetie. It's been
Hey,
eons.
I know, I
Yeah,
know. It's like
I missed
it just,
I missed a week and it becomes 2 weeks. Yeah,
yeah. It's like holy cow, where does time go? So
it
it
does.
really is. It
I
is
appreciate you
amazing.
holding down the fort last week with universal laws.
Oh, I was glad to do it. I had fun with it, and at least some people stuck around and watched and communicated. So that was a good thing. So I
That's
felt like I
cool.
didn't scare people off.
Always a perk.
Hi, V. Good to see you.
Hi, sweetie. Good to see you again.
and
Um, Excellent. So, well, then let's hard charge on down the sidewalk for tonight as well. She did great. I'm guessing you're talking about your mom, or oh no, Iris. Iris did great. You watched V was watching Iris last week, and Iris did great. That's who she's talking about.
oh, okay.
Yay!
Thank you for the feedback. Yeah, I was like, "Where are you getting that from?" And oh, yeah, I just realized she said,
She was talking about you last week. There's a
which is
time delay, and we forget that too. There's a time
yeah.
delay between your post and when we're speaking by about 10 to 20 seconds is what I've noticed. So for tonight, I'm Margot. That's Iris. Yay! This is Eyes of Indigo, our weekly podcast Wednesday nights, 9:30 Eastern Time. Welcome to the show. If you're a regular, mwah, we're so glad you're here. If you're new to the show, I'll kiss you next time.
Yeah, we'll
But
get you
you're
when you come back, but we're glad you're here.
welcome to the channel. We are seriously glad you are here. Big hugs. And if you are listening to the show in rewind in the past, welcome. We read people's comments because our show is live and we interact with our audience. If you are listening now live, please feel free to say hello, check in with us, type in that keyboard, type in the chat, type in the comments, Facebook, YouTube. And since the two platforms don't show each other's comments, we're more than happy. Ours pops them up on the screen and we take a good gander at reading them aloud in case our
Yes.
audio audience, I got to come up with a better way to say that, auditory audience, that's close.
Oral. No, that's not
No, that
oral
would be
either.
oral. So that people listening can also know what's going on when it's visual. Okay, thank you.
And hello, Donna. I just wanted to verbally
Yes,
acknowledge.
there she is. Donna, you gonna use this show real good, girl, because you definitely. Donna's had a lot of changes in her life and
Marco knows
transitions.
things.
Not, not well. Yeah, I'm picking that up too. But yeah, Donna's been going through some transitions and good stuff and tough stuff. Self care. Here it comes, girl. We're gonna give you some hot tips to keep that rolling. So now that I've mentioned our plot for tonight, Iris,
Yeah.
where are we going when tonight we talk about weird things in a rational way?
Yeah, it's just like you said, we do discuss weird things in a rational way. I got to show off our little bird. He's so cute.
Blue,
Uh,
blue, indigo blue.
and this week, we are discussing. Oops, I'm trying to make this. Here we go.
There you go.
Looking out for number one. And yes, we are individually to ourselves number one. We should be. We have to think about ourselves as being first. And too often we get caught up in daily drama, our responsibilities with those that are in our care, that we forget to check in with ourselves, and we end up cracking or becoming an empty shell of our former selves. So, like Humpty Dumpty, we're going to discuss ways to put ourselves back together, and give you some tips on that because
Perspectives and tips. Yeah.
yes,
Food for
yeah.
thought as well. Hi, Heather. Good to see
Hello,
you.
Heather.
Glad you're back again.
Yes. So, and we do appreciate people letting us know you're there. And as we go through our program, if at any point you have questions or comments, please throw them out. We want to, we like this to be an interactive experience for everybody.
Questions
Um,
always welcome. Comments always welcome. Yeah.
yes. And so, it's in looking at this topic for taking care of ourselves, one of the things that we have to look at is, first of all, who are we talking about, and who are we? And I say we as in individually, each of us,
Who
and I've
this
got my notes,
applies
so
to.
don't forget.
Right.
Yeah, we can be caretakers of children, or of parents, or of another adult. We might be
Clients or customers,
parents,
as well
uh,
as family.
right, and
Yeah.
we might be children with parents that we're taking care of, or that we just, they're a part of our lives, and they're in our radar, and that we're communicating with. We are employees, we are supervisors, um
Some
we
people have
have,
spouses that they need to take care of, especially as we age.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So and what happens is we might feel, hello Ashley, good to see you. We might feel like we're busy, or we get stressed out,
Right.
frazzled, discombobulated. Choose your adjective on, how you feel. But then that causes us to become forgetful, sleepy, hungry.
Disconnected.
Yeah, very disconnected. You
Yeah.
might get physically ill with migraines, high
Stress
blood
related.
pressure.
Stress related disease. Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. And but yet, what we do is we keep doing the same things
Habits. Yeah.
again and again, and think, well, it'll get better. It'll slack off. It'll get better. And we're thinking about it getting better as in everybody else that's around us, that we're having to do wear all these different hats for. Well, something's got to give, right? Well, if you keep going at that, the only thing that's going to give is you, when you totally collapse. And I've seen too many
Gee,
people
Iris,
go,
are we speaking from experience like I do?
oh, yes,
Yeah, you
yes,
too, huh?
yes,
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 yeah, yeah. We're speaking from,
very much so. And
lifetime of
this is very
experience.
much a personal thing that I can
Relate to.
relate to.
Yeah.
And a lot of this is from personal experience. So yeah, I know of what I speak.
Thank you.
And I call this thing where you're expecting everything else to get better, and you're literally hitting a wall with nothing changing, and you're getting stressed out. I call that our spiritual Roomba. Like you have the little vacuum cleaner. I use this example a lot. And when it starts, if it hits a wall and it's not going any further, you have to rescue it.
Push it somewhere else.
And when you switch directions, things go a little bit smoother. And that's true for anything that's going on in your life. If you feel like you're hitting a wall, you're supposed to be doing something differently. And so with this, um, a lot of times the anger, frustration, having arguments, all of those types of things come from a fear of loss of control,
Mm-hmm.
or you feel like you're losing control.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start lashing out at people, and you might go lash out at the cashier at the grocery store who didn't do anything wrong, but it's the only available person, because you can't yell at your elderly parent, and you don't want to scream at your toddlers, and you don't, those kinds of things. So some poor bystander, or you're driving in your car and road rage and honking and get out of the
They
way.
call that anger transference.
Oh, thank you very much.
Transferring, yeah, your anger onto like road rage or somebody weaker than you, a child, a pet, a clerk, like you
And so,
said. Yeah, you're transferring the anger to them.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an excellent point. And so, if you kind of look at when that starts happening, what are you trying to control? Like,
Identify
why?
what you're trying to control.
What you're trying to control? Hi, Jody. Good to
Y'all take
see you.
notes.
Yeah.
She's got 8 tips here and a breakdown of each one, and we're still talking about number 1. All right. So there's a
Right.
lot of good juicy information in here. So
So think about what
she
you're
has
trying to
questions to
control.
ask yourself. What are you first one? What are you trying to control when you're angry or afraid or arguing? Yeah.
Yes, and who has the control? Is it
Question number two.
merely a feeling that you don't have control, or is it
You're worried about who has control.
you're misapplying the feeling?
Right.
When you're
Right.
angry, and maybe that's maybe you just feel like your whole life is out of control, as
Right.
opposed to this particular instance that's out of control. But sometimes it can be something little like, if you're taking care of kids and teacher sends home a note that they have to bring something, you just blow up like, what the hell? The school's always asking for, they're
This and
nickel and
that.
diming me to death, and they're always asking for me to sign this and sign that, and this is getting insane. And the little kid's just going, Mom, I just need you to sign my permission slip. And recognize this isn't.
Perspective.
Yeah, exactly. You're just feeling like you don't have any control over what comes at you when it comes at you.
And you don't.
Yeah. And
Accept
so
that.
maybe
You have no control of what comes at you. You only can control how you respond to it.
thank
Yeah.
you. V says hell yes. Thank you, V.
She gets
Yeah.
it.
And sometimes little adjustments like recognizing that when your kid comes home from school and immediately the tension goes up because kids excited, maybe you had a few minutes of quiet before they came in, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're going off the roof. Sit down with them and take a minute to breathe with them, talk about their day. And when they're handing you all their papers from school, great, I'm going to take a look at these later. And you put that in a pile to look at after they go to bed so that you don't have to deal
Take
with it right
away.
then, and it doesn't take away from your time with them. Enjoy a snack with them. Create a little picnic snack outside, something to take a break and disconnect from the rest of the world while you're focusing on your child instead of freaking because, oh my God, you got all this homework and I got to do this and that.
Hmm.
It
Turn off the
take that,
TV, turn off the video games, turn off the radio,
and
unless you're listening to music,
you're regaining that control that you want.
and you're
Also,
maintaining that daily contact with minimum daily contact with your child. Yeah.
and also recognize, are you relinquishing control? If
Mm.
you've got an older parent who is very demanding, are you allowing them to demand and get their way all the time? Or are you allowing your child, your teenager, or your boss to demand things of you, and you're giving up your control? Where you have the right to have your expectations and your own boundaries. If your boss is being nasty to you, you have the right to say, I can see you're really upset. Can we talk about this later when you're a little calmer? Because it's upsetting me too.
That's clarity right there. Take notes, guys.
Yeah. um and and if somebody's literally taking it, my mother, when she was alive, she would come up with some of the craziest things. I would, every time I got off the phone with her, I would start ranting and raving. I can't believe she's doing this. And my son would just sit there and laugh, and I would say, my God, she used to talk about my grandfather doing this stuff to her, and now she's doing it to me. And I remember one time I looked at my son and I said, I swear to God, if I start doing this kind of shit to you,
Say
tell
something.
me about it. And he goes, what do you expect me to do? I said, there's a thing called euthanasia. And he said, oh, hey. And I'm like, no, not now.
Always the youngsters bringing in the reality check, right?
Exactly.
With a sense of humor. Absolutely. So the
And
next point you started down in these notes is you talked about one of my favorite points of this is recognize the lesson, the life lesson that the stressful situation is bringing you.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk,
very much
can
so.
you approach that a little bit? Like the first note
Well,
you have is what did you learn from the situation? A
yeah,
little bit of a
what are
mental
you learning?
inventory.
Why, like, one of the
Maybe
things
it
I
might
had
be
to
just
look
one
at is
thing, but could be two or three.
what is my mother trying to show me? And a lot of times it was a mirror. A lot of times these kids are just
Ah,
mirrors. Woo!
it's almost always a miracle. Not 90% of the time. Yes,
And it's like, or what
you're
you
owning
hate
it.
yeah.
When it's
So
a
it's
mirror, guys, own it. Own it.
yeah.
Own it.
And just recognize, oh, this is something I want to change in myself. And put it in perspective. Another thing is I asked for things. I've told the story before where my husband moved out. My dad had surgery, a brain surgery, and I totaled my car on the space of 2 weeks. And with each thing, I kept saying, "Well, okay, I can handle this. It's okay. It'll be all right. I mean, how bad can it get?" And the next thing happened. Okay, I can handle this. It can't get any worse, right? And then the next thing happened, and I was literally sitting in the floor, and I was working full time and going to school full time. I sat in the floor and just started sobbing. And God, I cannot take any more. I know you're not supposed to give me any more than I can handle, but this is it. I can't. No more. And I heard this voice say, "Well, stop asking for it." And I went, "Holy shit!" And I started laughing. I mean,
Ta-da! That crescendo like the computer used to do.
yes, exactly. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
A
so
friend of ours named Teresa posted a really great meme that is perfect for this situation. It says, if God only gives us as much as we can handle, then he must really think that I'm a badass.
exactly, exactly. V, we appreciate the positive feedback. She's going, yes, awareness, and y'all been working 12 steps too.
You can use 12-step program for anything. You just change application slightly. But yeah, absolutely. This is another part of it. So the next part you went into was setting boundaries, and it's
Yeah,
different, and it looks like it's different with children versus other people, but it's
possibly.
not.
Yes.
For
Um,
generally, it's tell us more about setting
Setting
boundaries.
boundaries with children, you set expectations and consequences and follow through. That was my big mistake in raising my kids. I didn't always follow through because it's like, there's nothing like telling your kids, okay, no TV for a week. Oh shit, now I can't watch TV. You know,
Set realistic boundaries.
realistic boundaries, but and follow through. They
Hmm.
they they need it. They need to understand what their boundaries are and that
And
sort
what
of thing.
yours are, and the
Yeah,
family boundaries. Yeah, it
right.
gives them a sense of comfort. And a lot of people that are new parents, um, or they only have one child, so everything is an experiment. They don't realize how critically important it is to maintain and follow through on boundaries, because what happens is your child ends up feeling exactly what you don't want, which is wildly insecure.
Hmm.
When they're insecure, they get sick, they get mean, they get combative, they go into survival mode. Survival mode mentality is commonly recognized
Lizard
as
brain.
mental, yeah, lizard brain, yeah, the base of your brain. But in society, it makes you look and feel mentally ill when you're in survival mode, because everybody else is not fighting to survive. They're trying to find a cooperative point, and you're still thinking cutthroat, and it makes you look paranoid, and it makes you unhappy, and you end up with low level constant stress, which means you end up with some kind of disease like cancer and you die young because you have constant low level stress. No, set boundaries, follow through, understand how critical that is for your child to have that awareness in life that there really are consequences to their choices, good and bad.
Yeah.
But follow through is huge for your child's psychosocial development. Huge. Yeah. Yeah.
And with parents, if your parents are just older and still active and that sort of stuff, sometimes you have to set boundaries with them too, especially
Yeah.
if they're doting and dropping in all the time. And they're causing stress that way, or expectations that they have and that sort of thing. I told a girl today who was trying to decide what she wanted to do, and she wanted to do one thing, and her mom wants her to study something else. And I went, I said, and she kind of reiterated, she said, because I've been talking about because we've done all this interest and abilities testing and stuff. And then I said, so does this help you? And she said, yeah. She said, but now I want to look at this career. And I said, really? Because all
It's
the
not on
stuff
your
that's in
radar.
that, it's not on your radar. And she said, well, it's what my mom wants me to study. She doesn't want me to get into the other thing. She wants me to do this. And I said, what do you want to do?
What were the two fields of study? Now I'm just wildly curious.
The one that really just came up, and also I got an intuitive reading on.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
confirmation. Confirmation. Trust yourself, right?
CSI,
Okay,
crime scene
investigative.
investigator.
All right. And what does her
and
mom want her
and
to
she
do?
likes science and that kind of stuff, and she loves that type of thing, and she's a very likes to work on her own, does
And
well in science. That's her. Her mom wants her to get into business administration.
no, no, she will be bored out of her mind.
That's what I told her. I
A
said, you're
lateral
talking.
move in between would be nursing, but no, no, that would bore the heck out of her. You have to be a very sedentary person mentality. I am. I'm
and
very
and I
administrative.
said, and it's lots of paperwork. Yes, there's paperwork in CSI, but that's more records and analysis and that sort of thing. Do you really want to be a
Pencil
customer
pusher.
service agent, pencil pusher, that type of thing? And she's like, no. And so, so I was telling her, I said, yes, I know you want to respect your mom. And I'm all for that and appreciate the fact that you want to, but you also need to be able to express yourself to your mom and tell her more about why you would be happy in the other. And it's like, so it's the same thing here. If your parents are that doting kind, you need to, you know,
Yeah, talking to your parents about this kind of stuff is excellent practice because they love us unconditionally. This
mhm,
is excellent practice for when you have to tell a boss or a client why you can't do what they are asking you to do. This is excellent practice. Use your parents to practice diplomatically saying, this is why I cannot do this in a calm, adult, rational fashion where you meet them where they're at in your language, blah, 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 blah. It's a whole nother discussion about
yeah,
exactly how, but they are practiced for doing that. So go ahead and cash in.
right. And then if they're
Um,
an elderly parent, that's
yeah,
kind of,
it's a different diplomacy.
it's a different, it's almost like dealing with teenagers again.
Yes, it is. Very much so. About the age of 13, 15.
Yeah. And if your parent has dementia, it's okay to lie to them.
It's even younger. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to lie to them, because have you done this? Have you done that? And
What will
yeah,
make them happy?
right.
When you're that far along and away from reality, just give them the reality they need. If it's never going to hurt them to know otherwise. We're talking about a white lie. You know what? We
Yeah,
should do a show about white lie
yeah, we
because there's
should. I
pros
think
and cons. There's pros and cons to that, and that's actually a lot of good, healthy discussion. So
right.
so put
Making
that on,
good
if you
notes.
don't mind, put that on the list. So
Okay. And then the other thing is at work,
at work, yes,
recognize when you're being abused at work. And
neglected or abused, just like it
yeah, and
in
and
any
know when
relationship. Yeah,
if you need a change, go for it. If you're feeling the need,
that's the
don't let
universe
habit
pushing
and
you along.
ritual. Yeah, don't let ritual and habit hold you back,
Just
because
because you've been
if you're
making the
not
same
being
mistake
paid
for 20
enough,
years doesn't mean you need to keep doing it.
yeah.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're not being paid enough and they can't do anything about it, you deserve better. If they're being harassing or have unreasonable expectations, that is abuse.
Yes,
Nobody should treat you like a
yes,
slave, for
yes.
lack
Indentured
of a.
servant or whatever.
And also set boundaries for yourself. Where do you draw the line?
Expound on that, because that is an intriguing concept to put it that way. How does one go about setting boundaries with oneself?
One is, like you recognize, I will only do X, Y, and Z for my parents. I will only allow my children. When you set the boundaries for your children, those are your boundaries as well. So recognize, you're not just setting boundaries for your children. You're also saying, this is all I'm going to take. And I'm not taking any more, and mean it. And don't punish yourself because you didn't follow through.
Yeah.
Or recognize I deserve to be paid at least X amount of dollars. And if my employer can't come up with that, I deserve to find another job where I'll be happier and get the money I want. I deserve to have a nice soaking tub once or twice a week, or whatever.
Or a nicer car, or the wardrobe you want, or the exercise equipment you want, or the gardens equipment and plants and that you want, gardening or landscaping, good stuff like that.
Yeah, because boundaries aren't
reward yourself. You deserve.
Boundaries aren't necessarily stop points. They're also
motivational points. Yes.
Right.
Thank you. All right. So the deservedness is more towards the allowance side of setting boundaries. Yeah. Yes. Boundaries have gates. Just make sure your boundary isn't all gates everywhere.
And
just one or two.
When you're asking a spouse for help and you're not getting it, make sure that you are expressing it clearly. And
implying does nothing. No, say it. Say it.
I need help with this because I cannot function and keep doing it all myself. And then when they don't take out the garbage like you expected, damn it, leave the garbage there. They will not learn until that garbage is overflowing. If once you've already made it clear that you're expecting them to do it, I don't care if you're walking through trash on your way to bed. Leave it. It will get done.
Self-discipline. Practice your self-discipline at that point. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right.
And communicate. Communicate clearly with your boss, your children, your spouse, yourself. Communicate clearly. Always. When you're setting boundaries. All right. So a
next
good
on
one.
The list. This is a big one.
Yeah.
Stop judging. Stop judging. Thank you very much.
That is a big one. Avoid judging. Avoid judging. Yeah.
And a lot of judging comes from when you feel out of control. And so you're going to blame everybody else for your problems.
It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Judging people is a defense mechanism. Yeah.
And so reel it in. Don't, the good versus the bad, us versus them, right versus wrong, all of that stuff. You can be compassionate without being gullible. Some people think, oh, well, I want to take care of other people and I want to help them. That's wonderful. But, you can't give every person that's begging for money on the corner money. They're not all legitimate. And you have to go with your gut on that, or you can't, we can't feed the world, but what we can do is take care of our own little corner of the world.
Without being gullible is an important caveat on that. Be compassionate without being a sucker.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Know the difference. Practice and know the difference. That you're reminding me of a tip that I learned at an old occupation that applies to this. And listeners, this is going to help you too. I used to be a case manager for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Greensboro. And I matched up bigs and littles with their big sisters and little sisters and big brothers and little brothers. And both the child and the parents had to go through training, and the bigs, big sisters, big brothers, the adults had to go through training and vetting and inspections and meetings and all kinds of stuff. And they had to be parent approved as well. But back to the training for the bigs, there was one aspect that our director, she had a Robin, her name was Robin Williams. Shout out to Robin Williams. I haven't talked to her in years, but she was a brilliant, she was wonderful. She understood what was needed of her and executed great. Wonderful humanitarian and excellent leader. So she did a lot of the trainings, of course, of the bigs. And one of the issues that we came up with is lots of times the lifestyle of the big brother or sister was very different income wise and socially wise than from the lifestyle of the family of the little. Okay. Bigs tended to be, not always, but they tended to be middle class and more. And the littles tended to be middle class and less money, more money and less money. So there were some cultural differences between them. And sometimes there were racial differences, which is a cultural difference in some situations as well. And what happens is you get, as a big, you get very intimately involved with this child's life. You see each other once a week for 1 year. So after a few weeks, you're seeing stuff in that family more and more. Some of it you're not going to agree with, such as the refrigerator is always empty. Laundry only gets done about once a month and there's stuff everywhere. Pet cat and dog poop scattered around the house a little more than you would tolerate in your own house for a puppy or a kitten. Things like that. Different standards. And what Robin was teaching us in one sentence was what you need to understand as a person who is helping this family by being a responsible, loving adult in that child's life as a big brother, big sister is you need to conscientiously not look down on families and people that have cultural differences or habits or standards that don't match your own, especially if you see them making bad decisions, such as mom making bad dating choices or always feeding the kids sugar and processed food, and now the kid is diabetic and ADD and hyper and they complain. Instead of judging the family for what they do or choose that's different from what you do, reframe it in your brain to understand that sometimes these parents simply don't have the wherewithal to perceive reality the same way you do. It's not that they are being cruel. It's not that they are being less than. They simply were not raised the way you were. They did not experience life and culture the way you did. They are they have their child in this program. They are trying. They did not have, for whatever the conflict is that you're observing, they simply do not have the means, the resources, the wherewithal, the background to come up to the same conclusion you do about how to handle a situation. So withhold judgment and shift over to this person just does not have the wherewithal, the resources to come to the same conclusion that I have. And that's okay. That's okay. It takes a village. It takes all types. Everything works in its own way, in its own time. And I always found that phrase, wherewithal, to be very, very clear about how to rationalize in your own head, how do I ignore bad diet, hygiene problems, education problems, safety problems? Maybe I perceive that. How do I, maybe not really a safety problem, but a potential. How do you,
then when does it become your responsibility to help introduce them to the new concept?
Right. That's one of your jobs as a big brother or big sister, is to show that child there is another way to do this.
But just don't pass judgment on. It's not like, oh, I can't believe y'all live like this.
Right. Don't be calling social services because the refrigerator's empty whenever you visit. There are plenty of families that buy dinner one day at a time. Typically, because the teenagers in the house, if they buy food ahead of time, they will eat it all
Yep.
and nobody during the day. So mom and dad have learned to buy food as they go so that it doesn't get eaten up
Right.
before mealtime.
Jane says that's my next thing. Release judgment. I've always viewed as an opinion, not judgment. So I'm working on that now. Yeah, and opinions are great until they start influencing or putting down another person. And Heather says we don't know what options or lack thereof that others have to choose from. Judging is not my job, but understanding is. Yeah, yeah, very very true.
Very good. Yeah, you
Um,
guys get this. This is good. Hi, Jane. Didn't get to say hi earlier. Yeah,
um,
releasing judgment. That's yeah.
and it
I
makes
worked in a
you much better when you're not having to be so busy with decide is that right or wrong or I can't believe they're doing this or whatever.
it frees you up.
Yeah, and it's like it doesn't really matter. Look at the big picture. How does it affect you?
Are you gonna give a crap about this a year from now?
Yes. Yes.
That's a good measure. Put that in your notes.
Yeah.
A month from now, a year from now, is this going to matter? If the answer is yes, good. Do something about it. Act on your boundaries. Yada yada yada. But if it's not,
Otherwise, let it
next
go.
week, next month, next year, let it go.
Okay.
Something Jane said real quick. An opinion versus judgment. That reminds me of a funny story, real short, real quick. I had a bunch of coworkers. There was like 6 of us, and the leader, she said, "All right, today, guys, we're going to go a whole day without judging each other." It was a office, very close, constantly running across each other, collaborative projects, whatever. She said, "No judging. Joking's fine, but no judging. All right, no
Okay.
making judging comments or whatever. You can have judgments, just don't speak them for one day. Let's not." And they tried it, and after about 1 hour, what we came from, what would happen is somebody would say something, and somebody else would say, "Is that a judgment?" And the defense immediately became, "No, that's just an observation." and they were, and so that became the running joke all day. Anytime somebody said, "Man, that sucks," or "I don't like that," or whatever, is that a judgment? No, it's just an observation. So, which is another word for opinion. Okay, which Jane inspired this conversation for me. So, yeah, learn the difference between what's a judgment, an opinion, and an observation. Observation's not a judgment by definition. So, allow yourself to shift to that. And it's okay to
Thank
have
you,
opinions.
Ken. A
Yay!
bell for Ken. He says great empowerment coaching.
Ken would know. He's a great empowerment coach himself.
Yes.
And thank you. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so learn those boundaries for yourself. Remember, we talked about boundaries for yourself. Clarify, when am I being judgy? When am I just having an opinion that basically maybe I'm keeping it to myself? And when am I completely outside of both of those and I'm seriously just observing without any attachment at all, which is actually the highest state of spiritual existence that humans can understand. It's really awesome. So we strive for that in an
Yeah.
ideal world. Yeah,
Yeah.
observe with compassion, without judgment. So we beat this one to death. What about the next step?
The next step is sort of like an attachment a little bit, but it's take responsibility for yourself yourself only.
Only, only.
Your actions are the only thing that you can control. So, children are going to misbehave. They're learning and they need to get along with society. So check your
By
own
practice.
barometer
Yeah.
before blowing up at them and maintain focus, purpose, and intent. I remember when my kids were little, my husband at the time, he would be like we'd get him dressed and then turn around to get ready to go out the door, and then all of a sudden, the hair's messed up or
The shoes are
shoes
off.
are on
The
or
coat's
whatever.
over there. Yeah.
And he'd be like, "What the hell? They can't even keep them dressed right." And it's like, honey, they're children. They're children, And or you go into a store, and that's when they're going to misbehave. And they're screaming, and he's going, I'm just walking off. I don't even know them. I did. And it's like, they're children. And it's so, a lot of times, like if I'm in a store late, there have been times where like I'll go to the store late or something, and I'll hear a kid in there crying. And I'm saying late, like 9 o'clock or something,
Sure,
and
sure.
you hear a kid screaming, and it's like, poor kid, he's ready to go to bed, he's
Yeah.
tired,
Nine
you
o'clock is
know.
past a small child's bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just, and it's like, you have a little more compassion when you can recognize, and there were times when my kids were little and I was working and trying to do the grocery shopping and all that stuff, and it'd be like, kids, I know you're exhausted, I'm exhausted too, but I've got to get this done or we're not going to have dinner tonight. This is the only time I have to get this done, please. And so a lot of times I was encouraging them to just stick with me through this, please, until we'll go home and do
You
something
are
fun.
communicating clearly with your children. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes. Didn't
Yeah.
always work, but it,
But over
kind of letting
time,
them
they
know.
figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but you make sure, and also it seemed like whenever I was the most tense, it'd be like, how come every time I'm in a bad mood or things are bad for me, that's when y'all misbehave? They weren't. They were the same as they always were. It was just, so check your own barometer and what's going on with me.
And
Are they really being as
and they're
bad as I think?
responding to the tension you're putting out
Yes.
when you are in a
Very
bad
much.
mood. Yeah. And
Very
that's
much.
taking responsibility for your stuff, because as a parent, you're automatically going to bleed onto your children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if you can walk in a room and know when two people have been arguing, you don't think your children can sense when you're not, things
When
aren't right with you.
yeah, when their main god and goddess, mom and dad, are upset. Yeah, remember, you are their
Oh,
creator. You created
yeah.
them. Your connection to them is way more profound than just good old mommy and good old daddy. Way more profound. Yeah.
And think about when you were a child. You always knew when your mom was pissed at you.
Even if she didn't speak, you knew when mom was mad. You knew when dad
Yeah.
was upset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or pissed off or
And
whatever. You
and
knew.
then with
Yeah.
everybody else, again, they're, for
There's the
kids, you
exception.
have to tend to the needs, but for everybody else, their journey is their own. If they're not happy, if they're not doing something, that's their responsibility. It doesn't mean, are you being responsible for yourself? If
Hmm?
you're absolutely being a shithead to people and being mean and nasty to them,
Claim it.
then
Own it.
own it. But for the most part, if you're trying, when you're trying to be nice to other people and then they act all whatever, go off the rails, that's their problem. As long as you know that you've done what you can for the situation and you're taking care of you,
You're doing your
whatever they
best in
do, it
that
doesn't
moment.
matter.
Yeah.
Yes.
In that
Yes.
moment. You're trying
So
your best in that
maintain the
moment.
integrity of your own journey, communicate
Yes.
clearly, respectfully, and
Yes.
maintain your boundaries.
Yes.
And don't take things personally.
Because it's never about you.
Yes, and I
Even
can't
when your
tell
name
you,
is on it.
I
Yeah.
grew up learn from, and a lot of it I learned from my mother was, oh, I must have done something wrong. If they're mad, I must have done something
Right. Kids
wrong.
blame themselves quick when they see their parents upset.
And so then when I went into the work world, every time, if somebody came in and threw their purse on the desk and was really angry, I'd be like, oh, I must have done something wrong. What did I do? And I hadn't done a damn thing. They just came in the door. And I learned to start saying, oh, did you something happen on your way into work? Or depending on who it was, who pissed in your cornflakes?
You stuffed your teddy bear with popcorn. Crunch.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
You can say
And
tater chips too. Yeah.
and my 9 out of 10 times I turn around and go, I'm sorry, my head was somewhere else. It's not you. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, then I started getting that reaffirmation. Oh, it's not me. Oh, yeah, okay. And I'm okay. And as long as you're taking care of yourself, and don't take things personally, and that goes with like road rage. You think about people who have road rage against you, or when you see protesters on TV, and if you're with them or against them, and you get emotionally involved in that, reel it back in, lady.
If you don't control your emotions, somebody else will do it for you.
Yes.
Which makes you incredibly vulnerable to anybody else's head game. You pay attention to when somebody is or something is triggering your emotions, positive or negative. What makes you super happy? What triggers you to super happy? What triggers you to super angry, super sad, whatever, super worried, guilt trips, shame, all that stuff makes it very easy to manipulate you once they figure out how to trigger emotions in you.
Yes.
You control your emotional response. Literally choose how you are going to feel. A lot of people are surprised. They're like, really? I can choose how I feel? Yeah. The human brain is designed that you can choose how you feel about anything that's happening around you.
Yes.
You can choose.
Always have it.
It didn't say it was easy. There are some situations that choosing, your puppy dies right in front of you. Guess what? You're going to feel sad.
And I'll tell you where
but you learn how to manage it so it's not so overwhelming.
If you've ever been to a child's football game.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Children's sports.
The parents.
They lose their shit.
They will get so mad and throw things down and yell.
Cuss and swear.
Scream. And it's like, it's children. They're playing a game. What are you teaching them?
Big picture, people. Bring it back in perspective. Yeah.
And so if you find that you're one of those people that's getting sucked into that emotional
you're getting triggered, get you some perspective. Back up. Big picture. Does this matter? Am I going to care about this next week, a year from now, a month from now? Yeah, perspective.
Exactly.
Rein it in. People will mess with you the second they realize. Mean people will mess with you the second they realize they can trigger an emotion on you. Don't play that game. Smile and back off.
Yeah. Okay. So,
next.
Some daily tasks for you.
To help do this, right?
To help do all this and to get you in a better space. 1, breathe.
Deep breathe.
Anytime you feel that tension, you say, okay.
You'll start holding your breath.
Yeah, you will. You'll start, and it's shorter breaths. And you just feel the tension building. Shake it off. Breathe.
Deep and slow.
Ground yourself.
Deep and slow.
Deep breaths. Feel yourself connected to the earth. Feel yourself connected to your chair.
Grounding.
Where am I? If you have to, go outside and touch a tree.
Put your foot on the dirt, the grass, touch a tree, touch a plant.
Take your shoes off.
Take shoes off.
Shoes off in the grass is wonderful. Go outside and just stand up next to a tree.
Pretty woman, she taught him to do that. She taught him, go outside and take your shoes off in the grass. At the end of the movie, that's what he did. He felt better. He knew exactly what to do.
I go outside my back door now. My oak tree has a branch that comes right over my back porch, and I can just reach up and I touch the leaf. I'm so connected to that tree. When I reach up and I just touch the leaf, boom, I can just feel the energy just go through my whole body.
Aww.
And it is amazing, and I thank it all the time.
Nice.
I'm so glad you're there. Can we cut back on the acorns this year? They're hell on my roof, but hey,
just a thought.
Yeah, just a thought. But hey,
it's not about you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it
every
didn't.
Every time I pick up a big limb off the ground, I say, "Thank you for not hitting the house." Oh, Annabelle, good to see you. I'm glad to see you.
Annabelle, that's a nice compliment. Thank you.
Yes, very nice.
She's been talking about some of the same stuff in therapy. Yay!
Yeah, yay, Annabelle.
Yeah. Okay. Anytime you need to recruit a trusted person to help you, a wise dear friend, or even a therapist that you trust or comes highly recommended, If you need help, go get help.
Yes. Yes.
Do not
Very
let
much.
ego and pride and weird belief systems about what is crazy. No. Take care of yourself. And if you need help to take care of yourself for a while,
Yeah,
sure,
get it.
go
Yeah.
get it. It doesn't mean it's that way forever. Go get you some help.
And anytime feelings come up,
Mm,
I identify the feelings first of all, because sometimes we just get emotional and we don't know, how do I really feel? Am I angry? Am I upset? Am I sad?
that's
Am I
what you teach your
hungry?
child. You teach child words for that. What are you feeling? What's the word for what you feel? Teach
And
them that.
then
Mad, angry, hungry, sad, sleepy.
why do I feel this way?
That's the next
You know,
thing. Why do you feel that way?
are you
Yeah.
hangry? If you're hangry, go get something to eat.
Yeah.
And why does this bother me? If it's, is it those questions that we
Go
were
look.
asking earlier?
Yeah.
Is it
Go look.
relevant? Yeah.
Go look. What's
And
triggering you? Yeah.
and go beyond the immediate and see what's the deeper cause. Feelings have been ignored, been buried, the pressure's releasing, those kinds of things. So if you learn, okay, I'm constantly burying this, I need to start expressing myself more.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is to stretch or to step away.
Physically move.
Physically move. And there is a wonderful, you can look her up. Her name is Amy Cuddy, Cuddy.
Okay.
And she gave a wonderful TED talk. And when you look her up, there's controversy. So let me explain. She did a study on people's posture and body language, and came up with these ideas for improving your self esteem. And somebody tried to discount it, and then they came back and somebody else supported it. So she's been up and down this roller coaster of whether or not the study's legitimate. It's legitimate, okay? And I've taught it to students and showed it to them. But her thing is, if you when you're going into like a stressful situation, or you are feeling small, like job interview or a big test or
Body
something like that,
language.
take a minute and do this, what I call the Superwoman pose, where you got your arms straight up and your legs spread like you're getting ready to do a jumping jack. But raise your arms, and I know the screen's too small for me to, but raise them up.
Yeah.
And stretch and breathe. They had kindergartners do that every day, and those kindergartners did something like 30 or 40% better on all of their activities than their counterparts.
You're
I
messing with the vagus nerve and all that good happy stuff is what you're actually doing.
Or you
Heart.
can do the Superwoman pose, hands on hips, and
Pushing your chest out.
yes,
Superman pose.
Superman
Or the Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman,
Or the Wonder Woman. Yeah. You're getting your neural nets activated in alignment so that you feel and act and decide and think better, clearer, faster. Yeah.
And sit up straight.
It's a whole body experience, guys. It's not just your head.
Yes.
Drink water.
And yes, drink water.
Hydrate.
And even, and especially like in the summertime now, my doctor was telling me, be sure you're staying hydrated. If your pee starts to smell or turns dark yellow, you need more water. and
before you get to that point, if you can.
And she said, and she actually told me, she said, if you're feeling thirsty, you're already getting dehydrated.
You're already in dehydration at that point.
Yes.
So set daily intentions.
Daily intentions. I have a little sign in my bathroom. Set daily intentions and expectations.
Goals. Give yourself goals to achieve. Set yourself up for success.
If
daily.
You're familiar with Stuart Smalley, they used to do the routine on Saturday Night Live.
Damn it, and they like me.
Yes.
In the mirror. I'm a nice guy.
I'm nice. I'm smart. And they did
people
it in
like me. Yeah.
And they did it in The Help. You are
You
smart.
is
You are
smart.
important.
You is kind. You is
um,
smart. You is important. You is
yeah,
kind. Yeah.
that whole routine. Tell
It's
yourself that every day
every
if you
day.
need it. Yes,
Positive.
positive.
Thank you, Heather. Yep. And Donna said she's enjoying this. Grounding is important.
Yes.
Excellent feedback. And Donna said affirmations, positive affirmations. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
yeah, daily intentions, also positive affirmations, all the same
Exactly.
category. Thank
Talk
you.
nice to yourself. You deserve it.
Talk
Okay.
nice to yourself.
And then another thing that you can do is find yourself. I've seen so many people, and I did it myself. You lose yourself. You're in a relationship, you're with your children or whatever, and you lose who you are. Take time to refocus. What do I want? And
What
if
else
you,
am I?
what
Yeah.
else am I?
Yeah.
And what did I enjoy doing when I was a kid, or what would I enjoy doing now? So if you create change one step at a time. Okay, so you're not going to do all this overnight, and you
Baby
renew the
steps are
pattern.
good.
Yeah, and then you renew that pattern, and then once you've got it in the habit, you bring something else in that you want to
Renew
change.
the pattern of change.
Yes.
Set yourself a pattern that involves change. Get used to it.
And
Be
then
happy.
enjoy yourself and pursue it, whether it's some type of art, if it's just those fancy coloring books or something. Yeah, what else am I? Lee Taylor Olson likes that one. And reading, if you like to read, set some time aside every day or a couple of times a week. Find a reading corner.
Ask your close friends what is the name of the best book they ever read.
Hmm.
If you ask that, and sometimes people will tell you two or three titles, but if you ask people that, even in small talk, you go to a dinner, you're hanging out in the grocery store, gas station, or you like churches or drum circles or yoga, ask somebody what is the name of the best book you ever read. And if they go,
I'm
childhood or
Yeah.
adulthood, one of each, please.
The nice thing too is you can get audiobooks from the public library. I got an audiobook from our school library. I've been listening to an audiobook going back and forth to work. I love it. It's just, even if I don't have time to sit down and read, maybe there's some hobby that you want to get into, or you want to improve your education, or you just want to take a class for fun. Maybe it's fitness. You want to start a new fitness routine. Do something small and do it for yourself.
Change your
Meeting
diet, change your
people.
exercise. Those are both fitness things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Learn to meditate. That's another fitness thing. Yeah.
meeting people. Meetup.com.
Meetup.com. That's the best place to meet people of similar interest for almost zero financial investment and usually free.
Yes.
Yeah. Every
And
city has a ton of meetups in them.
and the
Yeah.
meetups, they're created by people who want to focus on something. There's meetups for hiking, meetups parents with toddlers, meetups for readers, meetups for moviegoers, meetups for people who like to go out and eat, meetups for people who want to do metaphysical stuff or paranormal stuff or film stuff or what if
Or
you can.
dachshunds or cooking or travel to Italy or bicycling or dog sledding or drum circles or all kinds of stuff. I have 3 meetups.
Yeah.
I have 3
Yeah.
on there if you wanna look me up. Margot Ross Sears.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then think about if you like music. Do you like to listen to music? Do you like to play music? Do
Sing?
or go to a concert in the park? Go to you know the the local drama departments play or
Productions.
productions and that sort of thing.
If you like singing, but maybe you don't feel confident, try chanting. Try
Mm,
humming and then chanting. Try toning as well. And maybe someday you'll get into singing. But
yes.
again, baby steps. Give yourself that leeway, that learning curve. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And then picnics are fun and cheap and easy. Take your lunch to a park. Go out in your backyard. Do one on the floor in the house on a rainy day.
Bring a bag
Have
of popcorn to feed the squirrels and birds.
Yeah,
because they
that's a
will
good
come. They
idea.
will come and check out your food, and if you don't want to share your food, bring them food: popcorn, stale bread, cooked
Yeah,
rice, not plain rice, not raw rice, cooked rice, leftovers. Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
And games. Games are fun. Card games.
Game night once a
Yeah.
week, once a month with your family, with your friends. Game night keeps you sharp.
Blow bubbles. That's an excellent idea, Edie. I like
Oh
that.
yeah, that's a
That
great
is
one
so
for
much fun to get. Just go out on the back porch.
go outside. That's part of communing with nature sometimes, or with children,
Yes.
or with elderly, because elderly like it too. Edie, awesome. That's a great idea. Thank you. That's
So over.
that kicks in the deep breathing too.
Yes.
That makes you
Yes.
deep breathe as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good point.
yeah.
Overall, the whole idea between all of among all of this is focus on yourself.
With
It,
compassion.
yeah, with compassion, and the rest will fall in place. If you're focused on you and what's going to make you happy and what your boundaries are, and knowing that you're doing the best you can, and forgiving yourself for your mistakes, and and recognize it. I'm doing the best I can all the time. It's okay.
Own it.
Everything else will fall in place.
Own it. That's
People,
owning it. Yeah.
people and things that no longer serve you. People and things that
Can
no
go.
longer serve you can go.
Can go.
Release them. Get rid of the crap in the house that's cluttering, that's not doing you any good.
Do
Get rid.
one room a day or one room a week. Don't get overwhelmed. A lot of people don't clean their house because they get overwhelmed. One closet one day. Next
Yeah,
closet next day. One
and even give
bedroom one.
yourself a week in between.
Yeah, do it
There's
once a week if
there's
that's too
things like
much.
if you've got a pile of clutter on your table, 15 minutes. Time yourself 15 minutes to start getting rid of that and
And then
stop at
stop.
15 minutes.
Do
Take
not
it in
push.
15-minute
Yeah.
increments. Yeah.
That's another break.
And
That's another good breakup. Good.
also recognize and if you would like accept the download that it is safe to move forward in your life.
If you want the download, say yes out loud right now, please.
Yes.
It is safe to move forward in your life.
And that you know
Yes.
how to, and
Yes.
that
And
you
you will
are
always
able
know
to.
how to.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Creating.
So,
It's got some beautiful comments here. Heather Hilton said, I did that last week. Haven't done it in years. Made my heart smile.
oh, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Nicole said, Nicole said, creating.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Heather's got a yes here. Positive affirmations. What else am I? Love that one. Absolutely. So we've got a bunch of beautiful caretaker wise men and women in our viewing audience
Audience.
tonight.
Yeah.
And I know every single one of you has beautiful pieces. We're hoping that we did a good job affirming what you bunch of wise people are already kind of aware of. But
And sometimes you just
reminding
need reminders. Yeah. Yeah,
we're reminding you
exactly.
to do it for yourself as well. Thank you.
I
It's
cleaned off my desk. I can find my bells now.
that's an excellent one. Clean off your desk 15 minutes and stop. Next day, 15 minutes and stop until you have a clean desk or clean
I've been on a
files.
tirade going around my house.
Yeah.
Zentangle is awesome. I love Zentangle.
Edie
That
recommended Zentangle. Tell us quickly what that
Zentangle is it's
based on the
abstract
word
art.
Zen. Yeah.
It's abstract art, and you kind of basically you take like a page and you divide it into quarters or halves or eighths or however you want to divide it, but usually quarters. And you start with like a design. Maybe it's like a little paisley leaf, and you draw all the paisley leaves in that one section that you can. And then maybe you draw a circle in each paisley leaf. And then maybe down here you draw squares. And it's just it's repetitive different
It's a
symbols and drawings,
meditation.
and it
It's a
pulls you into
moving meditation. It's an open
yes.
eye moving meditation.
And you
like
come up with
yoga.
some beautiful designs, and you can color them in
Oh,
later if you want to, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
that's
Um,
excellent. That's
a-
excellent. Thank
Ashley,
you.
thank you, ladies, for all your wonderful structured conversation. Sometimes it's good to hear all the positive stuff.
Yeah,
And Heather
thank
says,
you.
finally finding my way. Awesome. We love and
Thank you for
appreciate you too,
reminding me I'm
Heather.
on the right path. Thank love and
Yeah.
appreciation. Thank you.
And
Namaste.
want to share what's coming up. Let's
Next
see.
week.
Next week, we're going to do psychic readings.
Woo-hoo!
Bring your questions.
Your two favorite psychic freaks are going to be here to answer your questions.
Yay!
Please come back and feel free to ask us questions in the chat.
Yes.
Iris and I like to do this once a month and give back
Yes.
to those burning questions.
Yes. And then on August 17th, we're going to have Jose Mora. I'm not going to try to say it. Plaza
Plaza
Kamadi.
Kamadi. Yeah.
Okay.
Plaza. Yeah. Plaza Kamadi. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's Margot knows him better than I do.
He's a shaman in the indigenous Mexican tradition. Ancestors of Aztec and Mayan. But he is a shaman who is living and practicing in North Carolina. And David and I met him a few months ago. We'll discuss the rest of his journey. Fascinating speaker, has a lot to teach, beautiful energy, very loving, and very wise and fun. So,
looking forward to having him. And then on the 24th, we're doing the chakras. We're moving up to the orange one. And
number 2.
Yes. And then part 3 of honing your intuition at the end of the month. So our August is
Yay.
full. And cowbell. It's like cow.
Cowbell. There you go.
And then Edie says small marks make neat patterns, very meditative, end up with awesome stuff. Yes.
The Zentangle stuff. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I think with that, yeah, wonderful. Thank y'all for being with us. And we'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat station. Bye.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details at www.facebook.com/Eyes of Indigo. Show is copyrighted 2022 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. All rights reserved.